Hey, you guys, it's Lula. So I was sitting here laying in bed and, sitting here laying in bed. um, and I was thinking about some of the people that I follow around the world. And I started thinking about how the internet can be demonized, right? Like we can demonize the internet and say that it's bad, or we can demonize the news or social media or whatever. We can demonize everything as much as we want. But I started to realize, like, playing the victim and not taking responsibility for things is what has gotten us into this pickle. And it also got me thinking about the 1%. Because I was thinking about how, so many people around the world influence me. And if it wasn't for YouTube or social media, I may have never met these people. And um, I I guess I didn't realize, like, how disconnected our countries really were. I was in my oblivion bubble. And then I started to think about how much all these different people from all these different countries are trying so hard and working so hard every day to heal and raise the vibration, to heal the energy field and to raise the vibration. And then I started thinking about the 1% again. And I was like, there's a reason why we call them the 1%. People want money and riches and all these things. And it's like, just because you're in the 1% of wealth does not mean that you have influence over people's minds, bodies, and souls. Like, think about that for a second. We say the 1% because, according to statistics, if they're even correct, who knows? There's such a small portion of the world and, like, beings that make money that have a significant amount of money. There's a much more significant, much larger portion of the world that doesn't have that kind of money. And I started thinking about how, over the years, the people who had money, over the centuries, over time, over humanity, the people who had money were always the ones that invested in something that they knew was going to make money. For instance, let's just say, you know, someone invented wings. I forget the name of the scientist, but anyway, he invented, like, these. He's like, he was looking at a bat, I think, or something that got in his house, and obviously I don't know the whole story, so, but I'm paraphrasing the story. But basically, this guy, like, took, like, the imagery of, like, bat wings and was like, how can I apply this? And then he started studying wings of birds and all this. And you know that's somebody who, you know it doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't, whatever, but it just starts thinking, starts having an idea. And then people with money back the idea, and then they get rich too. But they don't always keep their wealth, right? Like, depending on how they invest in their wealth or support their own life in their wealth. But people who have an extreme amount of wealth tend to go and a lot of times fuck over the little person, who has this idea. So over time, think about it. Our railways, cars, airplanes, media, and the entertainment industry, all of these major things are completely pushed by the 1%. So they're telling us what to think, they're telling us how to feel, they're telling us how to be. They're choosing, they're paying attention to what other people are paying attention to, right? So, like, if someone sees on the cover of a magazine X, Y, and Z, then they're like, oh, this is awesome. And then this person starts, and it's like the telephone game. And then this person starts talking about it, and then this person starts talking about it. And then this person takes one version of the story and he's like, well, it'd be juicier if you said this part. It's kind of like that movie Big Fish. All of those things really happened. It's just in the end, um, he saw, like, what the real people looked like or what the real situation was. But his dad always told a large version of the truth. He may have exaggerated it a little bit in his mind, but he always told some version of the truth. Well, right now, we've been told different truths and lies, and we're so ungrounded. And I'm saying like as a collective. So that's why now more than ever, it's super, super important to go inward and only, you know, sit with your thoughts, sit with like how you're thinking, how you're feeling. Uh, in the last few days, I wasn't on social media, and I found myself many times thinking about something or whatever, and then I'd want to go and look for it, or I'd want to go and see what, I'm like, well, what do people think about that right now? I'm like, what's going on with that, like right now? And then I'm like, why do I care? I'm like, why do I care? Why do I care? Um, I just think it's interesting that this 1% has completely become like a conglomerate, right? Where they're like ruling the planet. But that's only if we feed it, because all of those things I just spoke of are driven by materialism. So if we're not looking for the next best thing, if we're not, like I saw some headline before I went offline that said Nokia won something something for the next like big phone or something like that, next better service, next. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's just so ridiculous. They're like fighting for branding, it's like electricity should be free. It's easy. Like there's so many ways like that we can have things for free that a lot of these wonderful inventors have found these great resources that are just from natural whatever. But it's like we've just been driven by like this slave mentality, and it's it's such a deep programming, and it's so far into the matrix that you start to realize like when you don't feed into it and you don't play into it, then you don't have to participate in it. It only means something to you if you give it meaning. Like these one percenters, like they need their, I'm giving them a title, right? Just because that's what people will recognize what I'm talking about. Um, but they're not. It's like they have experts and people just like us, you know, in terms of like, they understand energy. That's why they do it. That's why fear is something that was invented to keep us in line, because it's energy. So, my whole thought process around this was that if there's only 1% of us, a smaller portion of us, that are controlling the planet, doesn't it make sense that the larger portion of us, if we pull our energetic resources together, that will no longer exist? Which wolf are you feeding? Which wolf are you feeding? As Edward and I have been manifesting our next move, every day as it gets closer to us having to move out, and every day that, I think about what it is I really want, I started to realize that I'm like, I really just want to help people in any way I can. I want to support humanity. That's what I came here to do. And so keep asking yourself, keep asking Spirit, how may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? Please research Dr. Wayne Dyer, any of his stuff. I would definitely recommend listening to him because he has the sweetest, kindest voice. Like I can only imagine what kind of father and grandfather he was. Just such a beautiful being, and he wasn't always like that too, which is why I think that's even easier for me to like him. I tend to love the broken and the downtrodden more, right? Because they've had more experience. I mean, someone can talk all day about a certain situation, but unless they actually lived through it, it has a completely different meaning and it's put in a completely different context. So keep asking yourself questions and be mindful of your languaging. Don't speak in the past. I'm going to keep talking about this kind of stuff too. Don't speak in the past, speak in the present, speak as if it belongs to you now. I am free. I am free. We are free. We are free. Ooh, did you see how my phone did that? Isn't that interesting? Right? Because they don't want us to be free. They don't want us to be free. They want us to be in these prisons. But energetically, we have more power. And I'm realizing that there are so many of us all over the world. We come from different cultures, background, we speak different languages, but the one language that's the same is the love language, the language of love. That's all there is. It's just love. It's only love. That's all there is. That's our currency. So, how may I serve? How may I love today? How may I care for someone today? Because the energy is only going to get more sporadic and only going to get more crazy. And, in fact, I'm going to watch this. Pam Gregory's got the new full moon. I haven't been watching her episodes the last few months. I've been so consumed with getting Edward and myself into our space, but moving forward and getting healthy. But she's really awesome. Look up Pam Gregory on here. Her forecasts are pretty spot on. Also, Stargirl, the Practical Witch, has been putting out some really profound pick a card readings. Also, Sacred Keep. I love her. I need to get over there because she's put out a lot of. It's interesting. Like a lot of the readers are like going balls to the wall right now, and I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like I'm more like this right now. Like I want people to because we all do it in different modalities, right? But for me, I feel like it's like I'm the mouthpiece for like that kind of channeling. I always was. I only started using cards because um, I just was drawn to them, and then I noticed that people really liked them. My clients really liked them, and then I liked doing the pick a piles. They're really fun. So they're fun for me. But this is like my direct channel, like when I'm meditating in the morning. But that's what Spirit wants us to concentrate on, is all of the energy, all the good energy we can put out, right? Like even when someone's yelling in your face and you just you don't let it get to you. You don't let it, your blood boil. I remember seeing something once where it was like the military and like the, you know, the main guy was like in the new guy's face and he's like, rah, 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 rah. And the guy's all like freaked out. And I was like, gosh, I'm like, that is like really messed up. I'm like, that is really messed up. And then I remember like later on in the program that the guy said, you know, don't you think that's a little harsh? And he's like, not really. He's like, because that's the way people are going to talk to them. He's like, if they get captured or something happens, he goes, you think they're going to be nice? You think they're going to be kind about it? He's like, they need to be prepared. He's like, a lot of these, young guys are coming from, you know, a home with a mother that's really gentle or whatever. He's like, they're not used to that kind of behavior or abuse. He's like, not everybody's been abused. And it was really interesting perspective. However, on the flip side of that, that's another thing that I'm saying. Like, we've been trained to like be at battle of war, and Spirit wants us to start looking that this is an energetic war. This isn't about guns or bombs or destroying things or power or anything like that. It's energy. It's not even about shadow or light or dark and light, whatever, however you want it, whatever languaging you want to put around it. It's like, it's not even about that. It is literally about an energetic war. And the only thing to keep in mind is love. So anything else they're coming at you, it's their own shit. It's their own shit. Always. It's always going to be, when someone's coming at you in a negative way, it's always going to be their own shit, right? And you're just a big ass mirror put in front of them, and they're like, whoa, what's happening, right? But it's not your shit, it's their shit. So be the mirror that puts love back to people. This is the challenge that we're being faced with right now, because when we fight back with people, that's our ego. And it's okay to have some ego. We need it to survive, right? A little bit. But we don't want it to drive the bus. And I know that with these eclipses that are coming up, and we got this full moon, like I said, I'm going to watch that report and then I'll come back and tell you guys about it. But, we just got to hold tight. The energy is going to amp up. I mean, think about it. We have like one of the most powerful full moons, a blue moon, 3 days before one of the biggest elections in human history. Pretty big deal. And not the United States is the most important country in the world, but let's be honest, We have definitely set ourselves up onto the stage in the spotlight. So there's a lot of different cultures and countries that take a lot from us. I mean, we take things from them, of course, as well. We borrow, lend things from each other. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, let's be honest, this is a really, as as the T clown would say, he's kind of a big deal. Yeah, because even if we don't like them or we don't like certain things that people are doing or saying right now out in the world, it's like it's still happening. So how are you going to show up? How are you going to respond to it? That's my 2 cents today. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Ow.